Hi and welcome to OnSide SA. We're going to be talking to Stevie B as usual in our Fulham studio. We've got Budge the Brains here as well. We're going to go through, but we're opening up today by talking about last one standing because, as you know, the league's creeping up on us. Budge, what's the latest?
3 weeks to go. I haven't confirmed. Hopefully, Postnet continue their sponsorship. I'll get hold of Chris Wheeler, our main contact, next day or two, Paul. But it starts on Friday. I was humming and Liverpool, Bournemouth. Guys,
I want the Liverpool boys to feel the heat.
Feel the heat. Jeez, I don't know where the heat.
I don't know. Arsenal are playing Man United, so at Man United with the two new wingers. So it'll be very interesting.
Well, the key will be Spurs, Paul, because you play on Wednesday in Italy. You play PSG in the UEFA Super Cup. So anyway, good luck to that.
But Burnley at home.
Burnley at home, so everyone will be more than likely.
Yeah, they'll be on Spurs.
But guys, I said I'll send the clip out to everybody. If it's not this afternoon, it'll be tomorrow morning. But it's the 15th, Friday the 15th of August. That's
okay.
First weekend.
Stevie B, we told him last week it's coming home. He was reluctant to join the chorus of agreeing with us. But just before we get Steve to talk about the games, but just the scores. England went through, came from behind 2-1, late goals. Spain went through 1-0, late goal.
Well, a terrible goal. I was watching it and I just thought, if ever there's one position that's improved with a woman, has been the goal kickers. I've been a critic because they've been terrible. It was injury time. I watched till end of last night and I watched the extra time this morning. She got beat near post. You could not believe the goal. And I thought, thank goodness I never made a statement, but crikey, they should never have gone out with that goal. But
what did Steve think? Is it coming home?
Well, sort of my head says probably not, but my heart hopes so. It's look, they lost to Spain in the World Cup final. Spain are the best team in the world, but we'll see. It's got a lot of attention. Obviously, there's no other football going on at the moment, so it's got a lot of attention and huge TV audience expected. So, we'll watch it and hope they go through.
Yeah. Steve, the young, was it Agmani, the one girl that came off the bench?
Michelle Agman.
If she doesn't start, England have got a serious problem because Spain's back four is woeful.
Yeah, Serena Wiegman seems to like to start with her. She has her sort of pet 11 and then bring these other young players on. But she's shown this Michelle Agman. She plays for Arsenal. She's only played 6 games for Arsenal and she's played 4 for England. Yeah, but she is strong. Whether or not she'll want to swap things around, but I guess. If she's come on as a sort of super sub and put a couple of goals, if she starts her and it doesn't go well, then
she's a better player than she's a better player than the girl that was at Man United.
She does look strong, and she was unlucky not to have scored with a chip that hit the crossbar.
That's right.
We'll see. I mean, it's going to be entertaining, nothing else.
Yeah, you're right.
So the woman locally in Africa,
South Africa. Shame. I missed the start of it. I got the time wrong, but we were 1-0 down. We came back to 1-0. We had a couple of chances to win it. Yeah. Then in like the 85th minute, they slung a ball in, and they were the winner. But what happened prior to that is the ball got popped up. I think the keeper came and punched it, and our centre half went to win it. And the Nigerian girl had a bicycle kick and hit her flush in the face. She went down. She was out, and all our girls they collapsed. They were lying on the floor. They were crying, and you could see after that there was only one winner. Yeah. And a minute later or 2 minutes later, the ball got slung in. Keeper came fishing, and we got beat. Yeah. But Paul, they did well, but that bicycle kick. Don't know why they never sent her off because it's dangerous play. But shame, they worked hard, but unfortunately,
Morocco beat Ghana.
Morocco, the host, Paul. That went to penalties. But Nigeria, the best team what I've seen.
What's the capital of Morocco?
Rabat.
Very good.
So it should be. If that's on Saturday, Paul.
Yeah, should be
good. The 3rd and 4th playoffs on Friday. No one wants to play in that.
But you're going to do it. But let's just go through we got Steve Hottoff and Blighty with all the news.
Yep.
Quick transfer news. I've been following it on Sky News. Yep. There's so much rubbish goes on the net. We bought this guy, we sold this guy, new deal, and I get you to read it. But let's talk Liverpool. Steve, are you with us?
Yeah, look, I mean, Liverpool really have making a sort of statement early. I mean, they I mean, I think that what they've done, they obviously spent a lot of money, brought some good players in. They will be releasing a few, I'm sure. But this week they've obviously signed Ekatike of Eintracht Frankfurt, who scored a lot of goals in the Bundesliga. Scored against Tottenham, as you know, early on in the semi-final. Good young player. I suspect, obviously, they were looking to get somebody in because I think sounds like Nunes might get released, and obviously, sadly, what happened with Jota. So, but they've done their business early, spent a lot of money, and making a statement that they're out there saying, look, we won the league last year, and you're going to have to really step it up to take it from us.
How much have they spent?
Oh, well, if you think you've got, I think it's somewhere in the region of...
I saw the figure, Steve. I saw the
over
figure.
a couple of 100 million.
300.
295,
yes,
and one of them was a free.
Yeah, I mean...
Preston.
Well, I suspect they will recoup some, but they've recouped a bit. Obviously, with Kelleher has gone, there's going to be... I think there'll be one or two others will go, but nothing like that. What they spent, obviously, they spent 115 on Florian Wirtz. So, and then another, it's going to be about 70 to 80 million for Ekatike. So there's 200 million just on those two players alone.
I'm on a Juventus crew with a lot of my former teammates, and Enzo Coppola does a great job in the South African history. And he's saying, beware. I said, Enzo, let's have a look. Two things. How many Germans have been successful in the Premiership? I said, if you wanted to buy the best centre forward from the Bundesliga, why do you go and buy Harry Kane? And but he's too old. I said, you're buying from Eintracht Frankfurt and Bayer Leverkusen. They've done nothing.
Do you think it stopped Ronaldo and the boy from Poland, Lewandowski?
Yeah.
Do you think it stopped them?
But anyway, good luck to them. They have done they're confident. I don't like what I see. I just think there's too many players come in from one league, and I don't think it's a proven league. Bayern Munich are in and out, but Liverpool have done their job, and in fairness to the manager, while he's running and while they're going well, spend it, because those American owners.
Budge, I've got to throw it, and Steve's listening here. Steve, I'm trying to get a quote out of Budgie pre-season. Now, I know it's 3 weeks away, Steve. They've bought Brian Mbuema. They've bought Kuna. Two quality players in my book. Yeah. How much? You've lost Rashford. Rashford's on loan. First, I've got two questions for you.
They have bought. United have bought well, but they need more than that to challenge. I think that's the point. I mean, United have got weaknesses all over the team, so I suspect their spending is not done, but they do need to get some players off the way.
Only two more we need, Steve. We need a goalkeeper. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
And then we need a number 9.
They're looking. And I think you're right. I think they are looking at both of those, but they do need. But it does sound like they need to get some money in as well and get some players, which they're doing. Obviously, Rashford has gone, and Barcelona are paying his wages. But they left 5 big names out from their touring squad, so they're expecting that Sancho, Garnacho will go as well.
Well, let's hope so. But goalkeeper Emi Martinez.
My question to you is, how do you see them finishing in the league?
Paul, if we get a keeper and a centre forward, I think we can get Champions League.
Okay. So
but you've
got an escape clause. If you don't get the keeper,
we can't. With Onana, we're going nowhere. Okay. And I'll make a statement now.
Yeah.
We'll win the League Cup. Remember last year when I said Newcastle?
Yeah.
I got shouted down.
Bournemouth you went for in one of them.
That was the FA Cup.
FA Cup. Okay, let's go Arsenal.
Arsenal, yeah.
Now, Arsenal have been coming spenders, competitive, but not bringing home the goods.
Arsenal, look, it does look. It's not quite done yet, but it looks like they will be signing Gyökeres, who, I mean, we've been talking for more than a year to get a number 9 in. He's done very well at Sporting. He was unproven really in over here because he struggled at Brighton, went to Coventry, scored quite a few goals, and then maybe surprisingly went to Europe rather than the Premier League. Scored a lot of goals for Sporting, but again, the Portuguese league is far weaker than a lot of the European leagues. So it'll be interesting to see how he does. But they've got Zubimende, bringing in another centre half, Mascara. So they're starting to spend well, and I think it's interesting. I saw a poll. A lot of Arsenal fans were not overly impressed bringing Madueke in from Chelsea. They just couldn't quite see it, but we'll see how he does. And again, Chelsea, he was a regular starter early last season, and again, you don't know with Chelsea, you could be in 1 week and out the next.
Yeah, I just think with Madueke, he'll play on the left, because they've got the Brazilian that's in and out, so he'll play on the left because Saka will play on the right.
What's his name, the right guy, the winger?
The winger, yeah. I like him. I think he's a
I
good
think
player.
good
So
player.
he's, he'll be basically swapping positions on the left.
You've got the English guy on the right.
Yeah, Saka, yeah.
Saka.
Yeah, so I think it's not a bad. This thing, the amount of money, but he can play, Paul. When you have a look who was out there last year, they had Trossard and all those guys. So I think it's a plus.
Can only play 11.
The thing is, Paul, I got a question. You know, Wells scored a lot of goals in Portugal.
Who, sorry?
Who scored a ton of goals in Portugal?
Tell me.
The man who can't score at Liverpool, Darwin Núñez. So don't tell me about this Portuguese league. But anyway,
okay.
Arsenal definite contenders. Paul,
Neighbours.
Steve, Morgan Gibbs-White. What's the latest?
What's the latest, Steve?
Well, it's very interesting, this whole thing about the fact that the Forest owner, Marinakis, who we know is outspoken, basically said he doesn't want to sell to Tottenham. He believes that somebody tipped them off that Morgan Gibbs-White had a £60 million release clause, whether that's right or wrong, and doesn't want to sell to them, and he's hoping that somebody else will come in for him.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure. It really depends. If Morgan Gibbs-White says, I want to go to Tottenham, and Tottenham meet his release clause, then it'd be interesting to see what happens. But I think I read this morning that Man City could be interested. So and I guess if City come in, I suspect he'd be interested. But again, Forest have lost. Look, if they've lost Elanga, if they lose Gibbs-White, a couple of their key players from last season.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, time constrained, Steve. We've got to head to the MLS.
Yeah.
Starts on Friday night or Saturday morning our time, Friday morning their time, or Friday evening. Columbus, Orlando City, Steve. How do you see it?
Yeah, neither team. Orlando is sort of very in and out, and Columbus not having a bad season. They're ahead. I would fancy Columbus to be favourites, sitting fourth in the table. Only lost one in about 7. So for me, I think Columbus close. Not clear favourites, but I think probably just about favourites.
Yeah, I fancy them, Steve. They beat some decent sides late. They won the last 4 at home. Orlando City, I can never catch them. Every time I go for them, but they're always capable of scoring. I went Columbus to win, both teams to score yes at 5-2. Well, it's 8-10 Columbus to score over 1.5 team goals. New England, Steve, against Montreal. I fell for Montreal last week. They're struggling. If New England can't get a result at home, well, my money's gone. What do you think?
Well, look, New England should be favourites, but they're having a poor run themselves. Haven't won in about 6 or 7 now. Montreal are bottom of the table, concede a lot of goals, and scoring's been a problem. So I think be very surprised if New England don't win that. Yeah,
I went New England to win, both teams to score no. It was 26-10. I thought that's worth a bet. Dallas, New York City, Steve. New York City in and out, but you never know with Dallas. They're having a nightmare run. Can you see them changing their fortunes?
It's hard to tell. At home, up until last week, they hadn't won in a few. New York not having the best of seasons themselves. But I think to sort of match, they could probably cancel each other out.
Okay. Houston versus LA Galaxy. Which way are you siding?
Yeah, look, Galaxy have certainly picked up a little bit of late. Only lost sort of one of their last sort of 5, even though they're still bottom of the table. But Houston are sort of no great shakes themselves. I won't be surprised if Galaxy get something there. Yeah,
I was against them on the weekend. Had both teams of LA, Los Angeles to win, both teams to score. It was 3-1 with about 15 minutes to go. And red card ended up costing me some nice money. I'm going to go the goals route here. I fancy LA Galaxy to score over 1.5 goals at 13-10. The goal markets are short, and I don't blame them why. Steve, Los Angeles, I expect them to get back to winning ways here. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think so. They are in danger of losing 1 or 2 of their players.
Yeah.
Team obviously they did sort of relatively well, played quite well in the World Club Championship. So 1 or 2 of their players, but they're having a decent run since they've got back. They've done okay. They've won 3 of their last 4. So I fancy them to get back on winning ways.
The Arsenal centre forward Oliver Giroud, he left after the World Club. On to our second page, and we got League Leaguer San Diego against Nashville. How do you see it going, Steve?
Yeah, mean, San Diego drew last week. It was at the top of the table clash.
Yeah.
Nashville having a good season themselves, won 5 of the last 6. I think this will be a close game. They both scored goals, particularly San Diego scored one of the leading scorers in both conferences. So I think San Diego's slight favourites for me.
Yeah, I'm the other way. I fancy Nashville. They've won 5 of the last 6. The only game they lost was that into Miami. They got beat 2-1. I sided with Nashville to score over 1.5 goals at 12-10. But 19-10, Nashville's my value play. San Diego, Steve, they've gone off the ball. They are an expansion team. I don't know if their legs are going, but they've had 1 or 2 like inconsistent results lately. So I'm going to charge the away side. Big game into Miami. I saw 9-10 this morning against Cincinnati. They played a few weeks ago and Cincinnati murdered them 3-0. I think this has got payback written all over it, Steve. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think since they've come back from the World Club Championship into Miami, I know they lost a week or so ago, but last week they had a really big win away from home.
Yeah.
Look, they're 7 points behind Cincinnati with 3 games in hand. You know, they win this, they could put themselves right back in contention. So for me, I fancy into Miami.
Yeah, 9-10 it was this morning. But the other bet which has got to be considered is into Miami to win and both teams to score. Yes, they can't keep a clean sheet, but you know, going forward, Messi and co will score a couple of goals. Atlanta versus Seattle, Steve. They've cost me money lately, Seattle. A couple of dodgy home results or home draws. How do you see them going in Atlanta?
Yeah, I'd be very surprised if they don't get a result. Atlanta haven't won in quite a few, conceding goals.
6, yeah.
Seattle, although they've drawn a couple, they haven't lost in 5. They've won 3, drawn 2. And I fancy them to go there and get a result. Yeah,
I just never know with Seattle. I know their goalkeeper, Stefan Frey, the Swiss guy's injured. That's why they're throwing a few in, but goals definitely on the menu there. Charlotte versus Toronto, Steve. I'm all over Charlotte. Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, they won their last 3. Toronto picked up a little bit, but are still sort of quite close to the bottom. So for me, it should be a home win. Yeah,
that's my Charlotte to win over 2.5 total goals, 13-10. That's my play. 2 struggling sides. Our man Benteke started last week. I don't know if he's going to play this week against an Austin team, also in and out, despite having a fair season.
Well, they did win last week, Chicago, after a sort of poor run. You look at their record, they score a lot of goals, but they concede a lot of goals. So I think you'll find that there definitely should be goals in this. But I fancy Chicago maybe just to edge it because as the home team.
Okay, on to our final page. We've got Philadelphia against Colorado, Steve. Another home win?
Should be. I mean, Philadelphia having a decent season again. And they're only a point off top place, so I would fancy them to be too strong for Colorado.
Yeah, totally agree. Colorado hadn't won the last 6 away from home, so we expect our South African manager to get a result. Steve, Chicago against the New York Red Bulls. Chicago in and out, but 9-10 is short. Are you taking them?
Probably not. I think that Red Bulls not having a great run, but I suspect they've got enough about them to hold them anyway. Yeah,
they won in midweek, but faced into Miami and got beat 5-1, even though they scored first. So I expect them to rebound, but it's just so hard trusting these sides. But 5-2 isn't the worst of prices. St. Louis against a decent Minnesota team, Steve. The away side, surely.
Yeah, I would think so. St. Louis are having a poor run. They've lost 4 of their last 5.
Yeah.
Minnesota having a decent run themselves, sitting in 3rd place in the Western Conference. So I think for me, the away team favourites.
Yeah, 13-10, inviting. Real Salt Lake, who've been on a bit of a roll lately, Steve, against San Jose. 7-10, what price? 9-10. That's not a bad price.
It's not, although they did lose last week, Real Salt Lake, after winning 3 in a row. San Jose haven't won in 5, so I think, probably not a bad price, Real Salt Lake, certainly favourites. Yeah,
but 2 sides are fancy them. And your side, Vancouver, Steve, they drew 1-1 in San Diego last week. Too good for Sporting Kansas City?
They should be. I mean, Sporting Kansas City not having a particularly good season. I mean, again, they've only lost 1 in 5, but that was a good result for Vancouver last week against San Diego at the top.
Yeah.
So I think Vancouver should be favourites.
Yeah, I think the certainties too. And I got brave. I took the -1 handicap. That's Vancouver to win by more than 1 goal at 13-10. On to Sweden, Steve. And guys, bear in mind the Euros, Champions League, Europa League and Europa Conference League. There's games on tonight where some of these sides are playing. So the betting, I couldn't believe Malmo, Steve, good result. They beat, they won 4-1 away from home on Tuesday. But Broma Pochkana, they were 2-0 up last week, ended up getting beat.
Yeah, you still fancy Malmo though. They're starting to sort of put a few results together.
Yeah.
I know obviously they had a big win in Europe, but I'd expect them to be too strong for Broma Pochkana.
Yeah, I went over 2.5 goals. Both teams to score, yes, at even money. I see Malmo signed the ex-Leeds captain Pontus Jansson. So they've made a few signings, obviously with the Champions League in mind. But I don't see them getting beat. Second game, Steve, I think Gaze Gothenburg will destroy Halmstad. Do you agree?
Yeah, Gaze, they were my pick last week, away from home and won. And they're having a really good season. They've only lost 2, drawn a few, but they've won 5 of their last 6. So I think they should be far too strong.
Yeah, 12-10 to win by more than 1 goal, worth considering. Degerfors, a side I go against every week. Against Norrköping. They were my bet last week. Can't believe they finally won. 18-10, Steve. Is it worth chancing?
Yeah, I mean, Degerfors, was it 7 defeats in a row?
Yeah.
I mean, they're really falling like a straw. And I know Norrköping won last week. They hadn't won for a few weeks before, but I think the betting seems to be the wrong way round for me.
Totally agree. They did beat IFK Värnamo at home. Maybe that's why the betting is 18-10. AIK Stockholm, who play in the Europa Conference League tonight. I was going to empty out. I've always got my dad, Steve, with these lesser clubs in the like Swedish leagues. The European competition is where the money, so they more than likely play their best players tonight and rotate, but they should still be too good for Osters.
Yeah, you would think so. I mean, Oster are sort of one off the bottom, so you think whatever team the AIK put out should be too strong.
Yeah, a team that plays tonight onto our final page is BK Häcken. They're in the Europa League. Djurgårdens, that's a team that had a great last season. They got to the semi-final, the Europa Conference League. This will be a close game, Steve.
Chelsea.
Yeah.
This will be a close game, but I think Häcken are having just starting to put a little bit of a run together, 1-2 of their last 3. I fancy them to be a little bit, I think those are decent odds. I think they should be too strong. Yeah,
it'll be a close game either way. Jalby, who are top of the league, even though they got a result last week, should be too good for Sirius, Steve.
Yeah, you would think so. I would expect them to win quite comfortably.
Yeah, I took a chance here. I took 11-2, over 2.5 goals. Both teams to score no. I think this is a 3-4-0 job. So I took a chance on that. IFK Värnamo, who are bottom of the league, who Norrköping beat last week. They're unbeaten in the last 4 at home, Steve. But Hammarby playing in Europe tonight. Can you see an upset?
I'd be surprised. I mean, Hammarby is still pretty strong. They won 5 of their last 6 in the league.
Yeah.
So I would still expect them to go there and get a result.
Yeah, under 2.5 goals that IFK Värnamo hardly scored. Last but not least, Steve, Elfsborg versus IFK Gothenburg. How do you see it going?
Yeah, I think this would be a close game. I mean, Elfsborg, they've only won 1 of their last 5. Gothenburg have sort of won 4 of the last 6. So hard to call. I think they could cancel each other out, but I could see Gothenburg getting something there.
Steve, I've seen the highlights of Elfsborg. I had a look this morning. They're even money. They're my bet of the weekend. Yeah, I know it's Monday night. IFK Gothenburg, they haven't beaten the best of teams, and when they have played a decent team, they've come short. I'm chancing Elfsborg this week, guys, and I had a look this morning. It's even money. So obviously I've had a bet. Steve, pressure time as always. And I need your best bet and value bet.
Yeah, I'm going to go for Seattle. I think they should be good teams at Atlanta. And I'm going to go against Degerfors. I'm going to go for Norrköping. I think they're capable of getting a result there.
Yeah. You don't fancy the good teams, go against the bad side. So I'm on Ulfsburg, and my value bet is Nashville. Just think they're a decent team. They gave Inter Miami a game in Miami, even though the game. So I'm going to charge them. And Steve, finally, it's coming home.
It's coming home.
It would, listen, it would be good for them. I mean, obviously they've got through to 3 finals in a row now. They won the Europe 3 years ago, World Cup final, and now the European final again. So yeah, I think they'll give it a go. But I just got this horrible feeling Spain. If Spain play as they can, I think they'll be favourites. But you can't write England off. They've really given themselves sort of opportunity by scoring late goals. And as you say, if she decides to sort of swap some of those players around and start with the players that finished, then she might need to, because I think that there could be 1 or 2 injuries. I think Reece James's sister might have an injury, so she might need to be replacing her. We'll see. So Michelle Aguiman, 19 years old, only played 6 games before she played for England. Could be the start.
Well, she's a good player. She's quick, and that's one thing those Spanish girls at the back haven't got is pace. They can play, but decent balls in behind. But I got my doubts if she'll start or not. And if Spain go 1-0 up, and then you bring these youngsters or the younger players on, you're asking for trouble. But anyway, we'll be in contact over the weekend, Steve.
All the best.
I'm sure we will. Have a good week.
Thank you,
guys. Bye.
Right, Bunch, give us your picks.
Yeah, Paul, exotics, and still can't believe they're just going per time. Some of them are actually disgraceful, but we have no say about that. Anyway, the first game up, the guys can just enlarge it. It's a Belgium game. I sided with Circle Bruges to avoid defeat at FCV Denda. Couple of friendlies. I'm going Stockport County win and draw at home against Hull City. Skulk win and draw at home against Sevilla. I don't see Athletic Bilbao losing against PSV Eindhoven. Grasshopper Zurich, the Swiss league has started, so I've sided with them win and draw against Lucerne, and I'm chancing FC Basel to win at St. Gallen 192. On to our second soccer 6, 3 bankers, 3 fields. First game, Botafogo, who impressed in the Club World Cup, to be too good at home against Corinthians. A field in the Man United versus West Ham friendly. Into Miami to be too strong at home against Cincinnati. 2 fields in the Atlanta Seattle Sounders, Chicago New York Red Bulls, and I'm siding with Real Salt Lake to beat San Jose 162. On to the soccer 10. First game up, I'm going with Fulham win and draw against a Notts Forest side who seem to be in turmoil. A field in the Everton versus Bournemouth clash, going for Botafogo to beat Corinthians, and Mirassol to beat Vitória in the Brazilian Serie A, and the field in the Man United versus West Ham game. Onto the second page, I'm bankering into Miami to beat Cincinnati. Seattle win and draw against Atlanta. Chicago Fire win and draw against the New York Red Bulls, and going for Minnesota United to avoid defeat in St. Louis, and bankering Real Salt Lake to beat the San Jose Earthquakes 288. Onto the soccer 13, I'm going with Norrköping to avoid defeat against Degerfors, banking RK Brage to beat Umeå and FC Copenhagen to beat Vejle. Game with Hamar Kammeratin win and draw against Haugesund, and Christiansen to avoid defeat at home against KUFM Kammeratin. Sandefjord win and draw at home against Salzburg, and Grasshopper Zurich win and draw at home against Lucerne. On to the second page, going for FC Basel win and draw in St. Gallen. 2 bankers, Young Boys to beat Servette and ARK to beat Osters. Djurgårdens Gardens win and draw against Häcken, and ending up with 2 bankers, Mjalby to beat Sirius and Hammarby to win at IFK Vernamo 256. On to our budgies bets. Believe it or not, been quite successful. Yeah, I got 2 out of 6 last week.
Yeah, you should have been on.
Yeah, I was on. So anyway, got a bus fare for the week. Anyway, the weekend, the first bet up, I'm going New England to beat Montreal to 0. So New England to win, both teams to score no. Then Charlotte to beat Toronto and over 2.5 total goals, and Vancouver to win by more than 1 goal, 3,200 to 200. My team goal sides are Columbus, Nashville, the LA Galaxy and Real Salt Lake, all to score over 1.5 goals, 2,800 to 200. On to Sweden, I'm going over 2.5 goals, both teams to score yes in the Brommapojkana Malmö fixture, and then over 2.5 goals, both teams to score no in the Mjolby versus Sirius game. And my bet of the week is Augsburg to beat IFK Gothenburg. That treble works out 4,600 to 200. On to Norway, I'm going over 2.5 goals and both teams to score no in the Bodo Glimt versus Vålerenga match. Over 2.5 total goals in the Sandefjord Salzburg clash, and Tromsø to beat Rosenborg on Monday, 3,800 to 200. I looked for another bet, I couldn't find value, so I went to the match bet plus both teams to score yes. So I've gone Columbus to beat Orlando City, Inter Miami to beat Cincinnati, and Los Angeles to beat Portland, and all 6 teams to score. So it's both teams to score. Worked out at 4,800 to 200. And Collis King, 6 or nix. I'm going Columbus to beat Orlando City, Inter Miami to beat Cincinnati, Philadelphia to beat Colorado, Gays Gothenburg to beat Halmstad, Mjolby to beat Sirius, and Augsburg to beat IFK Gothenburg. 4,800 to 200.
Excellent, Budge, excellent. I'm pleased that we're getting towards
it's closing nearing, Paul.
the Premier League is a week after the Championship.
The Community Shield. The first week is we've got Championship first week.
Yeah.
So we've got MTN8 starts next week.
Okay, so a lot to look forward to.
So it's getting better, Paul. At least we can watch the games. And
I just saw that West Ham are playing against Man United. What time and what day is that going to be?
in America.
They're playing in the USA, okay.
So it could be 9 o'clock, Paul,
And
depending
then
on the
Fulham,
time.
they're playing Bournemouth?
Yeah, Paul, I haven't followed much of the friendlies.
Okay, all right.
A lot of them are travelling to America for the money.
Yeah. All right, until next time, stay on side.